I have to see if this mic's working. Give me a second here. Got a little new mic. So I'm just gonna blabber for a moment to see if this mic is working here. Hold on. Yeah, it's working. Okay, cool. All right, good. Mic's working. That was easy. Let's see what we're gonna do today. So what I'm still balancing out is two things. I got a new pair of glasses so that I can see clearer, because I have a pair of reading glasses that are pretty basic. And I upped my prescription, like reading prescription. So I'm kind of excited about that. You can tell that's how old I am, getting excited about reading glasses. And what else? And my biggest battle is trying to figure out, actually, we're going to get a little crazy right off the bat. So I'm trying to balance out how important it is to like really crank these out, because actually I want to have a bunch of pieces that are like really easy on the wallet, but when they take 2 days to paint or a day and a half or a full day, I'm kind of missing my objective, because I can't sell them for, I just like, it's almost like I don't even want to post them, because the whole point of the art cards, the aceos, is to kind of really like get them moving around and have fun with them and like get them out there, and hopefully people can trade and sell them and just be part of that little ecosystem. That's my objective. If I price a card at $500, which I won't, but you know, like, kind of like misses the point. Now I might have some that are elite or special, but for the most part, it'd be nice if they were like $50 to $60. That's what I'm imagining. And then they can go up for like, so I'm just trying to balance that out. And that's with shipping, by the way. Like I cover the shipping because the way that Etsy works, I'll cover that shipping. So, you know, meaning that they're like, you know, selling them at, really they're going for even less if you take off the shipping cost. However, I'm also enjoying the fact that they are taking, like, I'm putting a lot of energy into them. And they are really, I'm still obsessed. So we're kind of in like, I don't think it's been one full week yet, but it's been 4 or 5 days at least that I've been working on these. Right now we're doing a wash and a kind of like a glaze. But I kind of wanted to keep this green tint. I actually think we need to move right in. So these are this is like a really fun. Here's my reading glasses, but they're only so strong. Now we'll move into the new reading glasses I got. Yeah, I can see way clearer. And you know, I was working for a long time where I had no idea I needed glasses. And so finding glasses was like, oh my, it's like a revelation. Realizing I needed glasses and how much they help my paintings and my work. It's a big deal over here, all right? So now let's go to But some cool things, like getting a microphone's a big deal for me, because I like constantly was listening to my other streams and other videos, and it was just kind of almost unlistenable. So for those of you that went through it, I appreciate you. And now we're slowly upgrading, which I feel really good about. Yeah, the new glasses are phenomenal, especially for small work, small little portraits. Z Duo. Can you hear me okay? Zidu. That's what you get. Zidu. Can you hear me? I'm just working on a new microphone. Working with a new microphone. Okay. Working with new glasses, new microphone. Look at me climbing the ladder. Working on little mini paintings. I was doing little mini paintings about 4 or 5 years ago. I was doing mini paintings like, I want to say like 6, 7 years ago. I think I have some photos of them. I was putting them in little frames. So I just gravitate to little pieces naturally, like left to my own devices. I want to paint little. I feel like I'm way more in control. I feel like I'm in my own little world, creating like little worlds. It's very cathartic. It's very, I don't know about healthy, but it's very, like, I just really like it here. Like these little brush strokes and these little ideas that grow, that I also know that like there's enough separation from me and the art that I can be very experimentative, and it's just a lot of fun. It's very for lack of better words, like it's like I really feel, let me see if I can find the word, fulfilled. And it's very, you know what, it's fun. It's just fun. I think there's some detractors from painting small as an artist, like it almost automatically doesn't, it's not about the money, because, you know, even in a perfect hypothetical wishful scenario, like there's only so much you're going to kind of get for one of these pieces. And I also think they're a little bit tacky, like kind of like there's a tacky element, a novelty element to them. But that kind of fits in with my MO. I can handle that. But as far as like making a business from these small guys, it's really, and you have to make a decision. That's just for you, man. I just like painting these little ones for me. And often if I hang on to them for too long, then like if people buy another painting, they end up getting these minis with their purchase. But I still have like a big chunk of my pieces that I created 4 or 5 years ago. So they mean something to me because I keep them like in a neat and tidy in little cases in a little box. Yes, you can hear me. It's really cool. I'm bad at drawing small. Yeah, I really, yeah, I get off on it. Like I really feel very stimulated and excited about painting small. Everything slows down. Everything feels manageable. Nothing feels like it feels like a very like enjoyable experience. I kind of like feel, I actually don't like being claustrophobic, but this is like really comforting, like a comfort blanket. And like I said, there's detractors to that as an artist. Like you, if anything, you just want to paint big and it's going to be more impactful. And there's going to be, people have wall space and they want to fill up their wall space. These aren't going to fill up wall spaces. So there's like, that's a detractor from just thinking about it from like a business standpoint. But as an art standpoint, I find them to be so fulfilling. And I like seeing them all together when I'm holding them in my hands. And so Core Samples, who you guys should follow on Instagram, is gave me the idea. He's like, hey, these ACEO cards are popping right now. Do you know about them? I said, I do not. He said, well, you should look into it. And I did. And I'm all about it. So right now I'm like going through an obsessive phase with these. And we're in day 4 or 5 of just painting straight little minis. But I love using like small little brushes. I love using small little canvases, small little brush strokes. It's like the illusion that everything is happening in the little world that I'm creating. And create my own little God complex with my little characters. Right now I have a good pace and my hands matching my mind. It takes a little bit to figure that out, whether you got it or not for the day, or for this session rather. Let's see here. Let's go a little pinker. Thanks, Zidu. Appreciate ya. Yeah, we're just getting started. Normally I just do shorts and stuff, but I really want to get monetized on YouTube. So I'm trying to just do these streams because I don't want to edit videos. And I don't want to do like tutorials. So I just thought, okay, the next best thing that I can kind of offer is just to sit here and paint and live stream it. Sometimes there's decent receptions and sometimes there's not. And I'm going to be painting anyway, so it doesn't really. I think that's the luxury of getting a little older. You do say this a lot more. I really don't care. There's times I'm talking to myself on the stream, and then there's times when I'm talking to millions. But the only thing I'm really, like on a personal and really trying to figure out is trying to figure out how I can really get into the boatman. Let's go. Appreciate you. I'm trying to figure out this balance between cranking these out, like literally cranking them out like a machine, while feeling fulfilled and like good about them. So I'm trying to, because right now these are taking too long to probably hit like kind of the price points for the whole objective of like art cards and trading cards and stuff. But I really want to push this little movement for a little while. I just want more art cards out there from some of our favorite artists. And so if I kind of push this for a while and other people push it, get more people on board to get these little art cards out there, even if some of the big whales have to charge a little more, but just to have those art cards out there, like hand painted original cards, little mini paintings, little mini masterpieces from our favorite artists, getting those cranked out there and building some momentum and excitement about little hand painted mini paintings. And then, you know, they can kind of fall into the collectible arena. And then there's like a demand for them and like trying to collect different artists and getting different artists, like I said, on board. You know, maybe they don't produce 100 of them, but if you can get a couple of our favorite artists, the big whales, to jump on board and like, yeah, let's get these minis going. Let's get people like wanting to collect art, even at a small scale, where it's really accessible for the most part, you know. I just think like when you have Logan Paul wearing a Pokemon card worth $40 million or whatever it was around his neck when he came out to WrestleMania, imagine that was imagine that was an original piece of art from like an artist, almost like what the NFTs were trying to do. Obviously failing pretty hard, but there was something to that, where there were like artists really getting paid quite handsomely for their digital art. And on that note, I think it was a success. Obviously everything from the scams and everything, and the way that it was such a fad that it just failed. But if it's an actual original piece of art that you're purchasing, and it's a collectible and you're collecting more, there's something to that, just like a Pokemon card or a hockey card or baseball card. And I just want to see if that, and because there is like a trend happening online, from what I see, it's nothing crazy. It's not like, I just want to see if more people can, if I give this a little time, we can get more people on board. That would be so fun. And I personally, I would want to collect other artists' little cards. I think there's something to that. Like for me personally, I have the wall space for a little card. I don't have the wall space or the means to be putting anything of significance on my wall. I can't manage it right now with where I'm at. But a little card, oh my God. Even framed. History VV. What's going on? Let's get some more details in the face here. I think we'll go a little harder on the shadow here. Sawadee. Okay. Thanks, Bunker. It's really hot here these days. Like extra hot. You can also get some gnarly texture by just hitting these little strokes, like these micro strokes, and leaving it for a bit. Get some really nice, like, impasto textures. Get some like little nuanced flesh tones. It's fun. So fun. It is a build up, so it's not like you have to get it to the painting, get the painting to where it needs to be, where this kind of element of enjoyment happens. But at this stage, it's really, it's kind of like I got my layout. I got it where it needs to go, where it needs to be, sorry. And now we just start having fun. And I just love these micro strokes, especially when you're in the zone. You can get into a zone where it feels like you know what you're doing. With the hair, you see, they're not all just like straight lines going up and down. You break up the pattern by getting like little blocks of highlights and lowlights in there. You leave some of the straight lines that you put in earlier, but then you break those up. And a lot of these techniques really are just, you can scale them up when you do larger paintings. The techniques and the things you're learning. Often people in the past, when they do studies, the studies are typically smaller than the actual piece. So you could even convince yourself like, hey, I'm just doing a small little mini study. For me, these are studies for ideas too. I get a bunch of ideas when I'm working on this scale. Then you can break up your patterns again with like, it's back and forth, right? Back and forth. It's harder to paint like wet on wet, so you have to be a little more intentional and a little more aggressive, a little more pigment. Really pick your spots and push that paint in there to work with the wet layers underneath. I prefer when like a painting's dry and been sitting for a few hours personally, but you get to a point where you don't get that anymore. You don't get that luxury. You have to paint wet on wet and work with the colors that are there. It's almost like two different systems. One is you let something dry, you come back to it and everything's tacky, almost touch dry, and then you can work almost like a entirely new layer on top using glazes, etc. And then there's a stage like here where I'm painting wet on wet. Which is almost like a different kind of math. It's like basic math, mind you, but it's different math. So I just brighten my value, and I'm going over the same paint that I just went over. We'll add some more depth to the helmet. depth is created by going like even darker than you have. Like, so you have, this is my darkest valley currently. Now we're going even darker. And then we'll go even brighter in some areas. Be mindful, it might not need the brighter areas, but this dark area is very valuable for this helmet specifically. You can really pull out the fact that there's a little notch here, or like a little antenna. Look at these little micro strokes. You're just defining things as well. To really make it seem maybe like a bit of a mouth here. Some of these shadows go right in there. You pick your spots. Everything is, you don't want to outline everything. You just pick your spots. Define things with this darkest value that we have. Almost, it's blue-black, but it's just basically black. Now I'm trying to think about what my next painting, I want it to be way faster. So you need a different plot, you need a different strategy, different subject. Just thinking about that. Let's get like a dark blue here. It's kind of fun because I've painted so many Kugi sweaters in the past that I can really just have fun with it. I know everything that's kind of going on with them. They have a bunch of patterns I'm not aware of, but like the standard pattern is pretty, got it pretty locked down, which is nice. Just keep working around it. Move around it. He's pretty goblin-y. That's okay. Some of that imperfections and scuffs and scarring and weird little confusing blotches. Maybe tone down some of this stash. I think it kind of needs something else just to bring it all home, bring it all together. Oh, can't believe I just touched that. Let's do a little bit of wear and tear. Wear and tear. A little shadow. The stash has kind of gone rogue, right? Gone awry. What does that mean? The eyes, I guess, are really inset. Again, these micro little brush strokes really wet my whistle. Wet my beak. We've been going dark. Now let's jump around. Let's go the other direction here. You see, I'm not like doing these long strokes. They're more little brush strokes just to grab some certain areas that I want to accent and highlight. You can even get funky and make it a little less unified here. You know, like the hairs are not all just, the hairs are frizzled and frazzled. The same thing with the face here. Let's do small brush strokes, but bring some more depth by adding more brighter values. The brighter values are not everywhere. You've got to be selective. Make them have a rhyme and reason too. If you can, like directional, and are they highlighting the cheekbone here? Are they highlighting the ridges and the folds of the skin? How big is his chin? You can determine that with these highlights. You don't want to cover up all the work you've been doing either. Like, you want to make it work together in tandem. So we'll just switch it up a little bit. We'll still go highlight, but we'll just get a little more pink and red in there. That was more yellow and white. Let's go a little red and white, and maybe even get some orange in there. Some of these blemishes are actually like scars and like pits. You might be drooling as the machine takes over. Let's get some more nuanced in his sweater. Same highlight, just a little more pink. Micro strokes, get some of that texture going. Really get to use your imagination too. Kind of got this fish scaly skin happening. Let's go back to that green, but we'll do a green, little brown, and some white. So instead of the pink that I was doing, this won't be a highlight as much as just getting some more nuanced in there, nuances in there. Because I was just talking about like the fish scaly skin. Let's really play with that more, that idea. Keep jumping around because you don't want to neglect things. So how I've trained myself not to neglect things is to jump around. Like if you're going to put a lot of time and energy into the face, then make sure the sweater at least gets hit. We're going to go pretty high here. Try to make it make sense as much as you can. You can imply things too, which is fun. Same goes with the stash. It's like the same as the hair. There might be some. You don't want to overdo it with these brights. They'll harm you. Never get too bright. They'll get you. Let's get my signature in there. I think here's dry, so we should have some luck. My brush is good today. It's not always. You have to learn how to work with yourself when you don't have your stroke, when your brush doesn't align with your mind. You have to learn how to work with that. You have to change your flow and your part of it is really just getting your brush right though too. Oh, this is wet, this yellow. The blue's dry. The yellow's not. Let's do like a goldy brown yellow. Let's see here. Kind of sweatery wool pattern. Let's get we'll go with, just add a bit of more flair by adding some green and blue and some white. So let's distance ourselves from any of the other blues that we've done. It's a little green, but that's okay. Just making more from the pattern. Let's bring these eyes to life a little more. More. Really give these eyes a home. They don't need to be over the top, but they need to be distinguishable. Let's fix up this ear. As I've gotten deeper into my career, the more ears have become more important. Because I think if you can land the ear well, if you can land the ear really well, it justifies a lot of your other decisions in the painting, some of the other areas that you've been exploring. So if the ear's done well, it justifies, it grants you authority and validates your other decisions that you've made. Because the ear's tight. If the ear is left untouched, then we're going to question your other decisions you've made. That's what I tell myself anyway. The nose is not distinguished at all, but that's okay. Maybe his nose is really just... Oh, that's nice. Micro strokes. I have to bring the camera closer for you next time. These guys are getting little. You see, when you add like a darker value into the work, you add depth, more dimension. You can also obviously cause yourself problems, but you can also get more depth out of your work by adding brighter values and darker values. But you just see it come alive more when you've established some sort of understanding. We're just really bringing that wild stash to life. The stash has began to have a life of its own now. It doesn't have to make sense, it just has to look good. And now we'll go really hard on the highlight. And we'll see if I can tidy up my signature too first with the higher highlight. Let's go. No, it's still really not taken very well. Sometimes you just have to imply it. It's just what you have to do. Oh, he is drooling. Look at that. Let's get some blues then. If you're going to go drool, sir, then blue white, not just white or peach white. Again, this is like implying something. If you're going to have drool, then you need to give your reader, your viewer, something to cling to. If it's too abstract, even if you're tailoring on the realism element, or you're trying to hit that realism, you still want to give your viewer something to latch on to, which I guess technically makes it surreal, but you really want to instead of, for example, if you can make that conscious decision, if the drool is actually like in the grays, we're not going to go there. We're going to go with blue or green to really accent that drool, to really land the point. You can add some white highlights into that drool. You know, don't be afraid to add some highlights into that drool. But you do want it to be distinct. You're sending a message. This man is drooling as the android seeps into his melon. When the android seeps in, there's a bit of like a lack of body function that becomes actually quite normal. You know, and the drool like kind of curls under the big lip. So it's not this like stream, it's a subtle dribble. But it's steady, so it's almost stream-like. I don't want to look at it, comes right into a sweater, you know. The steady dribble of drool. Might even add some kind of like this blue color. I was looking at They Live aliens earlier. Those are always really fun. So let's add some of that highlight to the drool now. As I mentioned, bring the drool to life. Look at those micro strokes. So fun. The drool puddles here. Going every which way. It's a little bit messy. It's not even like clean drool, it's messy. You got a little highlight here. Don't be afraid. You know, the eye is shining bright like a diamond. Get some highlights here. Some little light reflections there. This kind of blemish has some light. There's some underlighting happening. Wow, look at this guy coming to life right before your very eyes. Sometimes you have to, like when you've been doing a bunch of micro strokes and you've been really cautious, sometimes when you get to these finishing touches, you can be really aggressive and like really pull the painting exactly where it needs to go through intuition. You get carried away and then fix it up. We'll give him a little, okay, let's see. I think he's got fangs. You guys asked for fangs. Fangs it is. It also might look like drool, but we all know it's fangs. Or fang, not even fangs. Maybe he's just got fang. He's just got fang, not fangs. Don't be silly, he only has fang. Ah, that goblin has a fang. Normally a fang is in the middle if you got just fang. Not this guy. That's what separates him from the That's what separates him from the rest of the group. Told you I don't need any of you guys to check in on my stream. I amuse myself. But I think that is what happens when you create little works. You can have this too. This sensation of amusement. Look, he's got like some funky lip action. Maybe there's some drool happening from the top too. So only you and I know that there's a fang, but it's gonna look kind of probably like drool here. Hard to do really light lines on wet on wet on wet. Those kinds of lines sometimes might need to attack it again after it's had some sat in front of a fan for a bit today. But if you get your brush right, you load it up with a little bit of paint. My brush is right. It's not sticking to the wet. The wet there. But you don't give up. Maybe you gotta dab it instead of brush it. Need some stipple action. There you go. You can tidy up some of these eyes again. What's happening here? That's good. Let's tidy up this antenna one more time. Brush isn't right. The brush, you got to get that tip like pinpoint tip. We'll do some pink, hot pink, and some ruby cherry red. I'm just going to start making up my own names. I can't give it like by dioxide, peroxide. You're not going to get that from me. Oh, just grab your dioxide, peroxide, titanium. What else we got? Brilliant sienna. Get a life. Mind you, the colors and the history of colors is very fascinating and really cool. Forgive me, but you'll never hear me call the colors what they are. I didn't get into the game for that. My earlier work, I used to just use like straight up paints from the dump. The dump would have all these paints in like a storage shed that people dropped off. And then you can go in there and take whatever you want for free. Mind you, I was painting abstracts at the time, like large, big abstracts, like big. And so getting paint from the dump was really useful. So I don't really come from a background where we were studying the colors and the theories and how they came to be. But as I got older, I definitely will watch. I watch some of the pros talk about colors. I'm just not that guy. The color pros. But kudos to them, because someone's got to know that stuff. It's just not me. Someone's got to figure that out for us. For the rest of us. Can we get it? Wow, it's still giving me a headache. Brushes, right? I just want... Yeah, it's going to be... It's dabbed. There she goes. I filled a car trunk with free mini mist tint paint tins from the store years ago. I'm still using some. Yeah. No one. What's going on? The dump was really great, because I really think I recommend everyone just experiment with no rules. Like, you literally grab rolled canvas, or like cardboard, or like doors. I was painting on doors, like physical doors that people were throwing out to the side of the road. I grab it, you can leave the knob on, like, you don't, like, just paint, just experience the idea of painting and going, that's good, this is not good, this is fun, this is like, just going through that. And in order to do that, grabbing paint from the dump is a great way to just paint. Like, you can throw it out after. Just seeing what you can do with your mind, and that's what, when you even just get into that expressionism stuff where you just are painting for the sake of it. Very, if someone filmed you, you'd look silly, so don't film it. Just do it for the sake of it. Just experience it. So that's kind of what my point is about that. And I just carry that part of me still in my brain, where sometimes I really do, like, in all fairness, I do care about the colors and the impact they've had, and the history, and the importance of different mediums and all of it. And then sometimes I'm like, I don't care what, like, I'll just grab a tube out of my box of oil paints and just use that. Like, it doesn't even matter what color it is. And I think that's also equally valuable, just to, like, not have that type of attachment, because it's more about the creating and seeing what you can do and what you can make of something. Like, this just started as a blob. I had no idea I think I knew about it. I wanted a yellow mustache, because I remember using yellow and, like, yellow hair, and then it just took shape. The eyes, everything came afterwards. The layout. I don't even think I knew he was going to have the sweater in the beginning. Thought he might just be like a flush blob. But that's just because you just paint and see what happens, and then see if you can make it look good. See if you can kind of, like, bring it to life, like Frankenstein. Yeah, your first canvas was a door. Exactly. Yeah, go on. What do you got? No one materials. Go for it. What are you thinking? I will say though, there are some like art snobs that their perspective and their approach to fine art, I can really justify why they have that stance and that position. So I think there's a lot of value. In fact, like they kind of make fine art what it is when you do like kind of snub your nose at some of the kind of the approaches that I take personally, or someone like me would take. They go, no, like the whole objective is to find this beauty and elegance in the fineness, in the refined, polished approach with the education and the wherewithal. Yeah, that I think, I'm not going to deny that. Try to hold both in your mind. So how often do you paint? You plan gallery shows, and do you... Oh, if I ever did a gallery show, I would not be concerned with their conditions unless they... Normally what will happen is I do a lot of group shows. Haven't done a solo show in years. I don't plan on it either. It's not like that doesn't really excite me, but group shows, I love it. I love being part of group shows. And group shows will have a theme typically and some prerequisites. And so yes, I will abide by those prerequisites. As far as materials, if they're starting to talk about materials, then they've probably found the wrong artist. I'm just an oil painter and I'll panel, canvas, or paper. If they're looking for me to paint, like maybe I've painted, years ago I painted like an army helmet for like a charity for the army. That's different, right? It's a different objective that I committed to, and I did it. If someone wants me to paint on a skateboard, I painted a skateboard last year for Pearl Jam, funny enough. And that was fine. So they gave me the prerequisites and the demands, and I said I would love to. As far as materials, I'm an oil painter and an acrylic painter, but like an oil painter. I wouldn't even say, I would even like, hey, can you paint acrylic? Probably not. Probably wouldn't be able to meet your demands in that case. So as far as like, if someone was like, let's imagine there was some big gallery. It was like, hey, we want to do a solo show with you, and here's our demands, what we're looking for to do a solo. You're probably just going to say yes no matter what if a big gallery hits you, right? You're like, sure, whatever. Yeah, sure, I'll paint it in acrylic. Yeah, I'll paint on teacups if you want. Like if it's the Gagosian. But if it's just some small like gallery that really wants to push you in a direction, you can talk to them and say, what are you looking at? Why, like, this is not what I do. So have you not looked into my work? Do you think my work is a good fit for you? But with a group show, you don't even talk like that. It's just like, hey, this is our group show. This month we're focused on Valentine's Day, so we're doing a love theme. And you're like, okay, sure. Send you some art. Or you might have to show them like what you're sending them first. But like if they're like, oh, do you have digital work? I'm like, no, not really. I don't, like I'm not creating things on Photoshop or Procreate. So I'm not the artist for you. Yeah, if you want an ongoing relationship with gallery, then just talk to them like a friend. Like what work is, what work do you, like, could you see going in the gallery? Like if you have any sort of, if it's just like a brand new relationship, then you're just gonna, like for me, if you're gonna talk to a gallery and you're like, hey, if you ever have any group shows, I would love to be involved. Like if I'm being like dead serious to you right now, no one. Hey, if you guys are having a group show this year or any group shows, I would love to submit some work for your consideration. Like if you haven't spoken to the gallery before. If there's ever an opening for a group show, I'd really be interested. Please keep me in mind and I can show you some of my work that I think would be a good fit. Or if you have themes, I would love to know your themes and can I submit something for your consideration for the group show. Then when you're in the group show, you've really made a lot of progress. And then you can also feel out who you're talking to and how they treat you and how they're going about their business. And some galleries are better fits than others. You know, I have a hard time. There's a gallery that, you know, paid me right away. When I sent them work, they sold it. And they were very organized and they were very on top of what was needed to happen. And they were very supportive. So then in the future, I'm way more willing to go, yeah, whatever you need. So then in their case, if they had kind of specifications, I'm way more interested in meeting those specifications because I just like working with the gallery. They're good to me. There's another gallery I worked with last year that I will never send them any more work anymore because I won't get into the details, but it was just not a pleasant experience. Felt like I don't need to do that. I don't care. Like no thanks. You know, and I'm sure they felt the same way. It's not like I have the upper hand. It's just it's not a good fit. There's a gallery that I wasn't able to send out work to, and I regret it. I think they're a really great gallery, and I just didn't have the ability to get them work based on when they needed it, etc. I don't regret it, but the next time they ask, now that I've been following them and seeing what they do and how they respect the work and their kind of positioning and their angle, oh, I love it. I'm really excited. It's a gallery in Berlin, I think. I'm like, oh, they're taking it. They're really all about art, and they're really like pushing hard, and I respect the hustle. So I'm in. If they'll have me, you know. But as you get older too, you'll realize that everyone's the same. Like I used to own galleries, small and a big one where we had a team. And mostly over the last decade, it was all stuff that I just ran myself, like just a one-man army gallery, but like in a high traffic, like overhead and the whole bit. And then we also had a gallery where I teamed up with 2 other guys, and it was a big investment and a big, for us, a big deal. And we would seek out the artists that we're looking for. And when we would do that, they had art already that we liked. I'm just talking about solo shows. They had art already that we were interested in showing. So we came to them and say, hey, we want to show your work. We want to do a show. And then you can we would curate, like, hey, we'll take these pieces. No, we don't want that it's not fitting. So you can kind of pitch people like, hey, I have an idea for a show focused on this. But I think the easiest way why I keep coming back to group shows is because it works for everybody, because the more people involved, especially at like kind of like an emerging artist position, if you can get like, you know, you get 10 artists that have a decent following and they're doing some cool stuff, and you're like, hey, we want to do this theme and we want to do it at your gallery, and we want to do like a team effort. Like galleries like that kind of stuff, unless they're like super booked up. But even if they're booked up, they might have like an opening, you know, next year. But even like presenting something is going to get you into like the talks with them, right? So maybe nothing comes from that specific idea, but you're just like, hey, really love the direction your gallery is going in. I really love these artists you're representing. I have some ideas. I was thinking about it, like who should I talk to? Or can I come by and chat with somebody? Would love to know more about your gallery. You just learn about them. You build a relationship that way, like a rapport. And maybe you don't get anything in return other than, well, now you're talking to somebody at the gallery. I remember I dropped off work at a gallery maybe about 5 years ago. And I dropped off some prints and some name cards and in like a tube, like a shipping tube, like a rolled up print. I think it was a couple. And just said, hey, I want to give this to the owner. I knew the name, did my research. I knew who owned it, followed them. I think I even reached out on Instagram and dropped off some work for you. Hope you like it. Just really love the direction you guys are going in. I don't even think I had an ask, in all fairness. I don't even think I asked for any, like, hey, I want to do a solo show with you. Hey, I want to be like your main guy. No, I just gave him, hey, here's some of my work. Just wanted you to have it. Love what you're doing. And, kind of reached out. And there was zero response. Nothing. Not thanks for the work. Not, oh, really cool stuff, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Nothing. So what's the lesson from there? Fuck that gallery, man. Who cares? Just keep doing it. Because like I just said, I listed off a bunch of other galleries that seem like they're bending over backwards to really be awesome and really cool to work with. So go that direction. Go where you're loved, or go where you're feeling where it makes sense. You still try though. I think the main takeaway is that no, you got to go to a gallery, drop off a couple prints, just say love what you guys are doing. Really, just want to show you my work and hope you have a great day. Right? That's it. Just and I would send things that's not going to set you back in the bank, so you can even almost like do it again, like kind of just keep badgering them. But if there's nothing in return, then just move to a new time to move on, where look for another spot that you're interested in. And you can simultaneously do that while doing other things as well. So you can hit people up on Instagram, share. Like one thing is, like, if you have a gallery, they have a decent following, but nothing like outrageous, like they're just doing well, they have a good following, you can start like interacting with their Instagram and their TikTok, like sharing their work, like, oh wow, these guys are having a show, you should check it out. They will see that when you start sharing their events and you start sharing their artists and their openings, and just like even send them from time to time, like not over all the time, but just sometimes go, hey, love this show, looks great, guys. Like they want people to be part of the team. If they have any wits about them, they really appreciate that. But the longer you do that, then the more they like see you and they get used to you, and you're less of a threat or like always asking for something. Then you're just like, oh, cool, yeah, we love, and then they start following you. And that can happen in like a week, or it can happen in a year. There's no real way to. But if you support a gallery and they really start catching on, it might even just be like an assistant or some like intern. But if you keep at it and they start following you, it's like, there are some galleries that, the owners are running the, they're aware of their presence on social media, and they see it. You can also follow other artists, see what other group shows they're doing, what they're promoting. See what galleries they're playing with. tag along for the ride. I think the thing with art, which is a gift overall, in my opinion, it is always the long game. It's not about I hope this happens next week. It's just not that. All you should be doing all the time is painting. And then when you have downtime, you kind of push your work. And you keep pushing, and you keep pushing. And then you keep painting. And you'll start to find where you're respected and where you're appreciated. And it might not be the gallery that you thought or wanted, but it'll be somebody else that really sees what your vision is. And just go there. Go to them. Go to the light. And it doesn't mean you need to stop on, your big goals and harassing the Louvre. But as you age and mature and you become like a mid-career artist, a lot more opportunities start opening up just because you're really serious about things. So that's back to the long game element of everything. I'm very allergic to social media these days. I'm hoping for as little as self-promotion as possible, which I probably selfish of me. Yeah, no, so go back to what I was saying. Just stop by the galleries. Just start introducing yourself and just be casual. Hey, really love what you guys are doing. Find different, get on their mailing list. Drop off, if you hit a report, hey, can I bring by some of my work sometime, and just drop it off? Would love for you to look at it. You might get 5 no's, and then you'll get a, sure, go ahead, kid, bring it by. But then, I think it's not about yeah, sure, we want to do a show with you. It's more like now you start talking to these people, which seems like that's what you're looking for. And start going, hey, can I email you? I have a couple questions about what you guys would be what would interest you these days regarding the art that you're looking for. What are you guys interested in? I'm just really curious. Right? And usually, not all of them, but some of them will. Yeah, they'll tell you. They might not be they might be pretty stoic about it. But some of them will tell you, yeah, we're really interested in these artists these days because they do this. And the only reason I say social media is because a lot of these galleries, they have to prostitute themselves just as much as everybody else. They're on these galleries, even some of the big ones are on there doing TikTok dances, just like everybody else. Because if you don't have a social media presence, especially at a gallery level, it's that doesn't work anymore. Before it used to, and yes, there's outlining cases that it doesn't matter. Instagram doesn't matter to them. Yes, but I'm talking kind of the mid-tier galleries. If they're not dancing and singing fucking songs on Instagram, their gallery's going to go under. They need to do that. They have to be they have to do that game, and you see it all the time, especially these days. And I'm not even some of the big galleries have to do that. They got to play the game just like everybody else, because it just reflects on their reputation. If I'm a big artist and I look at their gallery and they have a little low following, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. So they need to play the game now too. So everybody's selling their soul. That's a different conversation though. But it should just mean why I say that to you, no one, is because you can look at the social media game in a different light. There just might be ways for you to connect with people, not so much having to promote yourself as much as this gallery is just online and they do a lot of online promotions and stuff. So there might be a good in for you to figure out, just, you know, build relationships and rapports and like support systems. Even like if you have to pull yourself out of it for a while and like support the galleries and see which galleries are actually starting to respond to you, well, then start supporting them. Share their shows, share their artists, tag them, especially galleries that you really are interested in, and like dig what they're doing. So that's why I'm telling you about social media, not so much to like sell your own soul, but just to help support these galleries that are, you know, trying to really push. Everyone's in it. That was my point. Everyone's got to like play the game these days. And you see it everywhere. More and more, especially. And remember, it's the slow game. It's the slow game. You might get lucky sometimes, but overall, it's the slow game, building up these relationships. The real slow game comes in with your art and how it improves over years. It's not going to happen in a weekend. And you know what? If it happens for some artists, it does happen. I'm just not that person. I'm an old guy that takes decades. And I'm poor, I'm painting. I sold a bunch of art, I'm painting. You're right, that's just what I do. So I figured it out, I just paint. If I'm doing really well, I'm painting. If I'm doing horribly and asking my parents for money for cat food, I'm painting. What state are you in? I'm not in the States. Porcelain. Yeah, this one's weird, Goblin. But I think it's finished. I think we'll add a little more doop right here. We'll add a little doop. Very bright, almost white out of the tube, but not quite. But let's go here. Doop. 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 Lots of dupes happening. Oh, even in that mouth. Wow. Whoa. Unexpected. Fang. He doesn't have fangs, he has fang. There you go. That's too much, whatever. Okay, anything else? Just the nose here. All right, guys, I gotta go. I'm hungry. No one, until next time. See you, porcelain. See you guys. I'm out.